I'd like to call this meeting to order September 20th, 6 p.m. Roger, are we ready? Oh, you want to record me?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
On, testing. We good? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to welcome everybody this evening, and I'd like to turn over to Lloyd, invocations and pledges.
Yes, I just echo the welcoming and thank our community, our staff, everyone, our trustees for being here at the September 20th regular board meeting. We're excited about the start of the new school year, and I'd like to introduce Mr. Roger Campos, who's going to lead us in our invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please stand, please. Heavenly Father, we gather here today intent on doing good work. We seek to represent fairly and well those who have given us this task. May our efforts be blessed with insight, guided by understanding and wisdom. We seek to serve with respect for all. May our personal faiths give us strength to act honestly and well in all matters before us. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Campos.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you, Roger. Okay, I see we have some great recognitions today.
Yes, kind
Lloyd?
of exciting to see our students come back into this room and let us acknowledge and recognize them. I'd like to turn over to Ms. Jennifer Collier, who is going to lead our recognition this evening.
Good evening, everyone. The student of the month for Big Country is David De La Rosa. Please come up. David has attended school at that campus since kindergarten. He is now a 5th grade student who is a role model to the younger students. David has mastered his state exam since 3rd grade. He achieved the highest reading score in 4th grade with a 94%. He also competed and won the spelling bee when he was in 3rd grade. His goals include attending college in the future and becoming a doctor or physical therapist. As a student, David is always willing to help his peers and tutor them. Some of the qualities he has shown include leadership, responsibility, and respect toward others. David attributes all of these qualities to his upbringing and his most admired role model, his mother. Congratulations.
We're going to make sure everyone just golfs at David.
Take a picture? Okay. Bob Hope Elementary is proud to recognize Azahara Mija Banda. She's in the 5th grade. The school has been fortunate enough to call Azahara and her family part of its community since she was in 1st grade. When asked to describe herself, she said she is kind, intelligent, cares about other people, and always tries her best to do the right thing. Her friends describe her as nice, funny, and honest. Her family knows her as a very loving, caring, sentimental, and natural person who always likes to help and take care of others, especially her younger siblings and grandparents. Azahara is a student ambassador at Bob Hope Elementary, and most students can recognize her voice as she leads the bilingual morning announcements daily. Her teachers describe her as responsible and eager to help. She is a fantastic example of a Bob Hope All-Star. Congratulations. McCullough Middle School is proud to recognize Luna Zamaran as Student of the Month. Luna is an 8th grade student. She has participated in choir and theater during her middle school years. She's an amazing young lady and is always eager to learn. She brings joy to anyone that crosses her path. She lights up the room and brings with her a contagious, positive spirit. She is one of the hardest workers campus leaders have had the pleasure of working with. She does not let anything get in her way of what she wants to accomplish, and she's extremely honest. She comes to school every day with a positive attitude that radiates to everyone. She approaches new situations with a can-do attitude. Luna models the rocket way in everything she does. Congratulations! Cass STEM High School is proud to recognize Amadeus Martinez. Amadeus is an 11th grade student who goes above and beyond for Cass STEM High School, especially for the academic decathlon team. Last year he was not able to compete, but still he came to every practice to help the students study and prepare for the competition. Well, this year, he's not only studying so he can compete, but he's also helping to ensure the other students are on track with their individual study goals. He's also planning on joining the chess club. Amadeus has grown from a shy and quiet freshman to a leader on campus. Cass STEM is proud to recognize Amadeus for his efforts both in and out of the classroom. Congratulations.
Pedro Martinez.
Can we take a group photo? Oh, sorry. And smile around here. 1, 2, 3. Ready? And smile. 1, 2, 3. Everybody freeze. And we got parents. Take some. Go ahead.
I'd just like to say, it's always an honor to recognize our students of the month. And we know behind them are families of the month. So with our moms and dads, brothers and sisters, families, if you're here supporting these students, would you please stand up? Let us recognize you as well. Being a student of the month means that your teachers, your principal, your campus administration has seen the value in everything that you're doing to help move the school forward. And so we just want to say congratulations to all of you. You can have a seat now. Also like to recognize our principals who are represented up here. But our principals for the campuses, if you're here, would you please stand up as well? I want to say in the first 3, I was feeling really tall till Amadeus came up. Well, thank you guys and congratulations, and just know we're very proud of you, and whatever you're going to get this recognition, please keep doing it on your campus. Congratulations and have a great evening. Thank you. And Mr. President, that concludes our recognitions this evening, sir.
Thank you, Lloyd. Mayor, do we have anyone signed up? No? Okay, we have nobody to speak. Consent agenda. Before we approve that, there is an amendment on item 9. Mr. Carrillo moved to approve a resolution as read. Okay? Because we need to make sure we get that statement in. Board members, you've had the consent agenda. Any other corrections that you've seen or want to make? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Oh,
I second.
you seconded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Who made the motion?
Who made the motion?
Daniel does.
You said Daniel did.
No,
Okay.
no, he was talking about
No.
an
No, I
old
was
set
talking
of
about
minutes.
the amendment.
Oh, okay.
I move that we approve the
Okay,
consent agenda.
we have a motion, and
I
I
see.
did hear the second, that's why I thought the motion had been made.
I thought that was
Okay,
it.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And audience, that is about the most exciting this meeting's gonna get. You guys were the excitement, okay? So I'm gonna take about a 2-minute break so that if you would like, you can leave at this time. Okay, if you would like, you're also welcome to stay. I'm not running you out, okay? But believe me, the rest is not gonna be as exciting as you guys were. Okay, we're on break for 2 minutes. Más o menos. Man, look at, all this is a consent agenda.
Oh, I know. Well, it's all over.
I'm gonna tell her to stop printing, I'm gonna start telling her to stop printing consent agenda.
We have so much consent agenda.
Oh, the,
Yeah.
that's fine.
I mean, if you want, we'll start reading them. Okay. Are we good, people? Okay, we're gonna go on. Items of information, construction update. No construction update? I wanna make sure you write that down.
We're gonna try to move it to every other month.
Okay, I'm good.
How are the playgrounds going?
They're going a lot better. They're going a lot
Awesome.
faster now.
Good.
Hopefully they'll have them back, hopefully by
Okay. Monthly tax report.
Yes, sir, we ended up in August at about 98.5%. Our goal is 99.5, so we have this month and a little bit of October to finish up last fiscal year's tax. Going really well.
Financial report. You've had that before you. Any questions? Investment report. Any questions? Report on gifts and bequests. Anyone receive big gifts this last month? Still waiting. Enrollment report. You see that on page 171?
What are we at right now?
We're getting closer to our pre-pandemic number, which is very positive.
Let me get to that.
You don't have to do
Some of, oh, okay, you good?
that. Yeah.
Okay. Review of purchase over 50,000. Board members, any questions? No. Calendar of events. And we also, well, we have them listed. Fall's coming in at 98 degrees on Thursday. Resilient School Support Program update.
Yes, this is our yearly update with T-Class. We received the T-Class grant 2 years ago, and with us, we have Alyssa, who is our Ed Direction consultant, and we do have her reporting out virtually.
Awesome. Can you all hear me okay?
Oh, yes. I was looking.
It's like a voice from somewhere else.
Yeah, I was looking for you to walk in.
Well, it's great to be with you all virtually here tonight. And thank you so much for giving us some time to present on T-Class and RSSP. We have had the pleasure of working with Southwest ISD since 2020 through this grant program. And it's been absolutely phenomenal. And I'm excited tonight to share with you all some of the progress we've made so far and some of our plans for the future. For folks who I haven't met yet, my name is Alyssa Murray. I'm a director at Ed Direction. Ed Direction is a national consulting firm that works with schools all over the country, but we work a lot here in the state of Texas and absolutely love that work. And our goal is to partner with leaders and teachers to help them achieve their goals for students. And we have the absolute pleasure of working with your awesome team at Southwest. Delilah and her team is phenomenal, and we really just feel very lucky. So I will go ahead and present a quick update, and if you all have any questions, feel free to interrupt me and ask, or you can ask at the end. Also happy to answer any questions offline. All right, so first I'll start by giving you all a quick overview of RSSP. For folks who are returners, this may sound familiar to you. RSSP is one of the T-Class supports. So it was a grant program started by TEA in 2020 to address learning loss caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we've been working with Southwest since 2020 to do just that. We started in that first year helping Southwest with virtual learning, and then continued last year with the first year back in in-person learning, continuing our work with the core instructional frame. And we are starting year 3 this fall. RSSP stands for Resilient School Support Program. The whole goal of RSSP is learning acceleration. We know how much students have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic with learning loss and all sorts of socio-emotional barriers as well. And so our goal is to work alongside your district leaders, provide coaching, professional development, learning opportunities, and implement evidence-based learning acceleration strategies to help students at Southwest ISD achieve. And so we have worked with Southwest, like I mentioned, for a number of years, and every year we start off with looking at the data and trying to identify the most high leverage initiatives to support learning acceleration. So I'll talk a little bit that in the next few slides. Our hypothesis really back in 2020 was that Southwest ISD could really go to new heights by having an aligned instructional framework. We feel this is super important because teachers at Southwest ISD know what quality instruction looks like, and they have clear expectations from their leaders of what is expected for them. And this is something that is not just something that comes and goes, but this is a framework that we started 2 years ago. We're continuing to use. We're using next year. We're using every year to come. So we really feel like this creates, first of all, high expectations for teachers, but also stability. They know what to expect year after year as a teacher in Southwest ISD, and they also receive professional learning, coaching on all of these high leverage instructional strategies. So there are 6 elements of the core instructional framework: teacher clarity, scaffolding, small group, questioning, opportunities to respond, and feedback. All 6 of these strategies are evidence-based strategies that have been proven to be effective when implemented correctly on student learning. So we know that if all teachers in Southwest ISD are using these strategies with fidelity, that our kids are just going to continue to soar. So I mentioned that we are starting our 3rd year. I wanted to give you guys a look back into last year. So this is school year 21-22. Last year, we focused our support on the first 3 elements of the core instructional framework. So this slide just presents kind of an overview of some of the supports we've provided alongside the Southwest team. So we gave live beginning of year of professional learnings and train the trainer sessions. So we worked with teachers, we worked with coaches and leaders to ensure that they had training in what teacher clarity, small group, and scaffolding should look and sound like. We also looked at student achievement data to prioritize 2 campuses, Indian Creek and McCulloch, and priority grade levels 3rd and 6th grade ELAR and math, to really say, hey, let's monitor these grade levels specifically on how they're doing with the strategies, and what we learn from working with those grade levels we can spread across the district. And so we had the pleasure of visiting those campuses multiple times per year, working with their awesome leadership team, doing some strategic planning, classroom observations, data analysis. And we're excited about the results that those campuses saw, and then I'll show you on the next slide. We continued to progress monitor. We would look at lesson plans, look at formative data, summative data, and continue to adjust as we went based on the feedback we received. And we also came back in October and in January to provide more professional learning based on what leaders and teachers identified that they needed. So I will show you all here. We were super, super excited about the growth in our focus schools and our focus grade levels and contents. On the left-hand side, you can see some student achievement data from Indian Creek, and on the right-hand side, you can see McCulloch. On the left-hand side at the top, you see STAR data. So this is spring 2022 versus spring 2021. And you can see this is like phenomenal growth. We don't see this type of growth all over the state. And so we were just so excited to see how much the Indian Creek team really worked hard with their 3rd graders to really improve from from year over year. And then at the bottom, you can see the M-CLASS assessment, which is a reading assessment that tests each student's grade level. And you can see at the beginning of the year, 34% of kids were testing at or above grade level. And by the end of the year, 46% of students were testing at or above grade level. That's really hard growth to make in one school year. And we were super, super excited about that. On the right-hand side, you can see McAuliffe data, STAR growth as well in 6th grade reading and in math. We know that school made strides all across the board last year. And so we're just so excited to continue to work with them this year. And we're also adding on some focus campuses as well. So as we start year 3, which is school year 22-23, like I mentioned, we continue to analyze the data and just make sure that our work is continuing to be impactful and that we're focusing on the high leverage strategies. We narrowed our focus to confirm the focus schools and grade levels that we wanted to really, really work with, set vision and goals, a measurement plan, and an implementation plan. In going through our data, we had 3 key findings from our prior years of work. First, the academic gains with our focus schools last year were significant, and those leaders were truly, truly transformational. So we were going to go ahead and continue to partner with those schools heading into this year, and we're adding on Hidden Cove and Resnick as additional focus campuses, and we're excited to spread impact this year. Additionally, we gathered data from teachers and leaders via focus groups and surveys about what's helpful and what they need in order to be successful. And what we heard from them was teacher clarity was great, but we wanted to dive deeper into scaffolding and small group. So we are continuing to spiral those strategies into this school year. And then lastly, we heard from leaders that they could use more support and clearer expectations on how to implement the framework at their campuses. So as a result, we are working with all principals to set individual goals around the framework, and we are working with principals on a regular basis to provide professional learning, coaching, and feedback. You all have an incredible group of campus leaders, and we've met with them a few times so far this year, and so I can say that work is going really, really well. These are the goals we've set for ourselves for the upcoming school year. As you may guess, we at a Direction and at Southwest, our ultimate goal is student achievement, and nothing we do matters unless students at Southwest ISD are achieving much greater values and also setting themselves up for more opportunities in the future. We really want the kids at Southwest to have every opportunity they possibly can, and so we do gauge our success on student achievement data. So we have annual goals based on STAR growth measure. That is changing slightly for this year with the new STAR. And so we are adjusting that goal slightly on a campus by campus basis to make sure it's rigorous and captures growth that kids are making. And then we also set interim goals. So by December, we want to make sure we have capacity, fidelity, and student outcome goals met. So we're thinking about, are we training leaders? Are we giving them feedback? Are leaders doing those walkthroughs to support teachers in using the framework? And are we seeing those results in student scores? And so with that, the last piece of that is you may be wondering, what is this looking like so far this fall? And so wanted to give you guys an update. Before the first day of school, all coaches received instructional coaching training. We really feel like giving teachers feedback, non-evaluative is a way to move the needle. And so all coaches received that training. We provided all teachers and leaders with training on questioning and scaffolding, so continuing to reinforce the core instruction framework. And we also worked with Dr. De Leon to build a data dashboard. Dr. De Leon is absolutely phenomenal and has done really great work there. And we're going to be using that data dashboard to progress monitor implementation and student achievement data throughout the year. And then by October, we have a few goals. We are doing a diagnostic trip next week to our focus campuses, and we'll be conducting walkthroughs alongside leaders just to see kind of how are we starting the year, are we making sure that, you know, the supports we are planning to provide are aligned with what's needed? We also are providing more training for principals and coaches on instructional coaching, goal setting, and strategies. And we will be coming back in October to provide all teachers with training on the next part of the core instructional framework, which is opportunities to respond. So it's a lot going on, and it's been really, really fun so far. And thank you guys so much for giving me a few minutes to present an update. I am excited to come back to you all and show how much growth we're able to achieve this year. So any questions?
I have one. How long do we have them for?
We have them for this year, we're hoping for another year.
Okay, yeah, because it's obviously working.
Yes.
And is our ultimate goal to train enough people to do what they do within? Or do we want to keep Alyssa forever?
We do want to keep Alyssa forever. But we have been, we do have trainers, and with our coaches, they're coming in and training our coaches, and our coaches have the tools to turn around the training.
Okay.
And so that's something that we do celebrate, that even the work that they're doing at the campuses, they're working with multi-classroom teachers, the MCLs, the academic coaches, and so enough leadership that we can sustain the work.
So they
Thank
have
you,
somebody to go
Dalila.
to each day that they. if
Thank
they
you,
had a question,
Alyssa.
Not just reaching back out to them.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize that this work is definitely not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of the leaders and the teachers on campus and the district leaders. So part of our model, like Dalila said, is that gradual release and making sure that district folks are setting up to all this work moving forward. So thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
I just want to, Mr. President, if I can say something. So I've had the opportunity to sit in a few meetings in that direction, especially in the beginning. Alyssa is a great thought partner in her team. And I really want to commend Dalila. I think the student outcomes this past year recovering from a pandemic in a virtual environment is tremendous. And we're going to be able to get the next item of information is going to be looking at some of those outcomes again. And so I just want to commend Dalila and her team in curriculum and instruction and that strong partnership of Ed Direction. In my 30 years, some of the best thought partners and teaching us how to identify anchor teaks and help our teachers be the best they can be in the classroom. At the end of the day, what happens between that teacher and that group of students is the most important thing in our district every day, and everything else we do around should be to make that better. And I can firmly attest in the last 2 years that has happened quite a bit, and I think we'll see that here in a few minutes. But Dalila's just been a really great leader in CNI, and we look for a really great relationship for, I don't know if it'll be forever, but for a long time.
Okay.
I mean forever, like 100 years.
Absolutely.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys. Have a great rest of your meeting.
Okay. Item J, state assessment and accountability update.
Yes, so we do
Dalila?
have our Executive Director for Accountability and Assessment, our Lisa Bolte, with our yearly report.
All right.
Good evening, Mr. President and esteemed board members. So last time I was here with you, I talked about preliminary STAR results, and now I'm going to show you a comparison of our STAR results to the large comprehensive school districts that are in Bexar County, so you can see how we compare. And then we're also going to look at our accountability ratings compared to that same market group. So to start, so we'll start with third grade math, and you can see that we were right up there at the top for our third grade math. And this is really great to see, because we know historically math is the area that suffers the most when you have students out for an extended period of time. So we have our third grade math results, our fourth grade math results, same pole position. Our fifth grade math results, keeping in mind that fifth graders only took it once, that because this legislature changed that law, now they only have to test once instead of multiple times. Our sixth graders, our seventh graders, there's some of our neighbors don't only do algebra one at 8th grade, so their 7th graders are actually taking 8th grade. That's why we're missing a few names off the list at 7th grade and 8th grade. So we can see, we know that Matthew is the one that gets the hardest hit, as I said before, so we still have some really great results. We're either at the top or at the top 5 in every area, so that's really great results that we're seeing in our math. Moving on to reading, 3rd grade reading. 4th grade reading. 5th grade reading. So you see we're at top 2 or 3 at our elementaries. 6th grade reading. 7th grade reading. And 8th grade reading. So we actually are seeing a lot of our campuses are doing as well or better than they were before the pandemic, which was reflected in our scores at the elementary level. So moving on, how about science? So science for 5th grade and science for 8th grade. We've talked about this before, how science is an area of need, and we are working on that. And then our social studies for 8th grade. So again, we're in that top 5 again. How about high school? High school, we have our first-time testers, so this includes our 8th graders who took it. It's a small number at our middle schools now that we've adjusted that program. And you can see that we are in 4th place for our Algebra 1 first-time test takers and our biology. And our English 1, top 5. And our English 2, top 3. And our U.S. history. So how did all these scores look when we put it into the accountability system? So let's talk about our ratings. We're going to talk about it at the district level, and then we're going to compare it to our neighbors. So our overall scores, remember we talked about how the legislature passed the rule that for 2022, if you weren't at least a C, you would be not rated. Every one of our campuses was rated. Very proud of that. Our district is an overall score of a B. You can see our different domain scores there. And Southwest High School is a B, Legacy C, Castema B, so very strong high school showing there. And then our middle schools. Very excited about McGullough, because if you'll remember back in 2019, they were an F campus, and now they have moved all the way up to C, so that's a huge, huge gain for them, and we're very, very pleased with them. You'll notice they are still comprehensive support. That's because in 2019 they were given that label, and you have to have your scores high enough to not be that in that bottom group for 2 years before you can lose the label. But Legacy High School no longer is comprehensive. They had 2 years of excellent scores, and they've come off that list, and the same with McNair, so we're very pleased with both of those campuses. So this year, when we bring you a tip to approve, there'll only be 1. So how did our elementary do? Very well. You can see that we have 2 A campuses, and we have all the rest are Bs. Excellent, excellent scores at our elementaries. Lots of distinction designations also happening. Those distinction designations are determined based on the 40 campuses that are most like you, based on a multiple of data points. So they have to be in that top 10% of that 40 to, in at least 50% of their different indicators to achieve that distinction designation. So we're very pleased with all of our distinction designations at both secondary and elementary level. So let's look at how we compare to our neighbors. So I'm going to take this one domain at a time. So domain 1 is all about student progress. So at the district level, we're looking at our STAR scale scores, our CCMR scale scores, and our graduation rate scale score. And we put those together in the calculation, and Southwest ISD was a B for domain 1. We were actually second on this list. We were right behind Alamo Heights. Domain 2 is about school progress. We're looking at how much progress the students made for Part A, or how our scale score for STAR is on the quadratic scale based on our ego disc, and we were a 88 scale score of 88, which is also a B, which was actually 5th. Domain 3, this is where our federal accountability comes in. We're looking at multiple indicators broken out across different demographic groups, and we had a scale score for Southwest ISD of 81, which is again was a B, which was 3rd in this group. So the state takes domain 1, domain 2, A and B, and determines which one was the highest score. That's 70% of your overall. And then your domain 3, closing the gaps, is 30%. They do the calculations, and that gives you an overall score. And for Southwest ISD, we were at 86. That's a B. So we were actually 4th in our market group. So we're very strong coming out of 2 years of a pandemic. And as Dr. Versus likes to say, 4 points away from an A. So that is our goal. So if there's any questions?
I have a new one too, less than 5 points worth.
All right.
Questions, board members?
I got one question.
Okay.
Where do we see ourselves, or where are our weaknesses to where we think we can gain those 4 points, but like to make sure we hit that A? I mean, where do we need to go to attack to get that A?
So while we're looking at the accountability, it might be changing, which is domain 2. Progress is something that we've been hitting hard. So right now, even when you look at domain 1, we are working with providing after-school professional development to specific teachers that we have identified that had maybe limited growth. And so that's something that it's an option to all, but with specific teachers, we're going to be offering specific trainings throughout the school year. And so with the work that we just saw with the direction, and Indian Creek, they did get also distinction based on closing the gaps. And so what we're doing on our end is identifying and going into the campuses with just like the work that the consultants are doing, specifically with the campuses, and then working down with the teachers to make sure that they have the specific skills. But if we look at this, one area that we're working with also hard is our science. That would be the area that I know that years back, we were doing some really good work, and we just want to come back and we know how to do it, and just provide again just the instructional resources that they need, and also the professional development that the teachers need. So.
Any other questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Item K, online auction. Brandon. Tom.
Thomas is going to excite you with our timeline for the online auction.
Yes, sir. As you know, we will be moving the auction up this year. We're pretty full at some of our locations with old furniture, technology items. So we're actually normally do this around Halloween, end of November. We're moving it up a little bit here. So Thursday, September 22nd, which is this Thursday, Online Pros is coming in to do all of the labeling and picture taking. They'll be here all day that day. The online auction will actually activate September 27th, and it will run through October 6th, with the pickup days being October 10th, 11th, and 12th. So that's the schedule for it, and I will work with Mr. Campos to get that on the web page so everybody knows about it.
Questions?
Is there any of those items that are being put on for auction, can we use them for the sustainability goals or to help with our curriculum to like kind of recycle, or to make sure that kids can actually, like, say we have damaged computers, can they take apart a computer? Can they do stuff to
All of the computers from the technology side have been gutted by by law, we have to take out the hard drives and everything they're really not, I can't speak for that, but I don't think, most of the stuff, once it hits our auction, it's really salvage trash.
I know when I've seen the auction before, it's really just the cases and maybe a power supply. They usually take the graphics cards and the important stuff out, and the RAM and all that's usually fried by then. That's why they're in there, so.
And then as far as all the furniture and everything, it's mostly broken stuff that just, you have to take it.
what we could before it gets to the auction part.
Right. Yes. Usually it gets, if it's something that's viable and usable, it gets picked up and moved out before it ever makes it to the warehouse.
Thank you, Tom. Okay, we'll come back to item 7 after closed session. Item 8, consider approval to submit 22-23 application for maximum class size exception for elementary schools.
So we have Adrian with us, and I will preface that right now what you're going to see is the potential to have to do class size waivers at the most that we would have to do. The PowerPoint that you have in your booklet was from a week ago, and it indicates we had 9 classrooms. We're down to 4, and so Adrian's going to show that. I'm trying not to say all of his PowerPoint slides, and we'll talk about it in just a minute.
Thank you.
Good evening, Board President Vazquez, board members, Dr. Burstow's senior leaders. Make sure this is working. I guess it's not working now. Okay. So district may submit a class size exception waiver for any classrooms in pre-K through 4th grade that exceed the 22 student limit. And if they do have any classrooms that do exceed that limit, then they're required to submit an exception waiver to the Texas Education Agency, and also notify parents that that cap has been exceeded. And so we actually, thank you. So we actually still try to staff our classrooms at a ratio of 22-1. But we also noticed that in some cases there is a need to actually go beyond that, and our district innovation actually addresses that need. Our DOI actually gives us the flexibility to increase that 22-1 gap to 23-1. And so again, our goal is still staff at 22-1, but if there's ever need to go beyond that, our plan actually gives us that flexibility. And there are some cases where we want to be able to make use of that flexibility, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to put students and parents in a situation where they're having to change classes, they're having to change teachers, they're even having to change schools. And so by making use of this flexibility, we're able to prevent that from happening as much as possible. And there are some cases too that we'll submit a waiver to TEA, and by the time we actually hear back from them about that waiver, a lot of times that class size goes back down to the acceptable level. So we find that happens also at times. Within our district, we actually do have 3 campuses that have class sizes that have exceeded the 23-1 cap that we've mentioned before. And on those 3 campuses, there are actually 4 classes total that have numbers higher than 23. We have a 2nd grade bilingual class at Bob Hope, and a 4th grade bilingual class at Bob Hope also that has exceeded the 23-1 ratio. And we also have a 3rd grade bilingual at Elm Creek and a 3rd grade bilingual at Hidden Cove also. So while you see numbers there that are higher than 23, we do have a plan for addressing these higher numbers. At Bob Hope Elementary, well, our plan to support that situation is to actually provide support through a paraprofessional. Having a paraprofessional go into that 2nd grade bilingual classroom with and ultimately hire another teacher to help numbers in that particular 2nd grade class. Same thing for bilingual. We ultimately want to look at hiring a teacher to help numbers in that class, but until then we're actually providing support for that teacher utilizing our ESSER teacher that is on that campus. At Elm Creek, we are working on a reassignment from another campus to help the 3rd grade bilingual class there, and then at Hidden Cove, Also looking at utilizing paraprofessional to support the teacher with students in that particular class, and ultimately hiring another teacher for that particular class or that particular grade level. The
So those plans were worked out with the principals to make sure that we all have extra ESSER teachers, to make sure anybody that has a large classroom size always has some type of support to help reduce the ratio, to ensure that we have better ratios for students in small groups, making sure they have coverage. We do have some paraprofessionals who are finishing up their degrees right now. Hopefully they'll finish this semester and pass their certifications, or we are able to put them on permits. So Hidden Cove already has a plan for that. We're excited for them. So right now, they are using an ESSER teacher for another position. You see in your board packet, we had 9 last week. We're down to 4. We are still utilizing that. So want to thank the principals for being very flexible, and the teachers who've considered changing to another campus to help out students and really make sure that students get the best possible learning. And everybody will go out and talk to that teacher, because those are hard conversations to have. And Adrian for looking through numbers and help leveling. So we're down from 9 to 4 as of today, and tomorrow and next week we should be down to 3 before we actually have to submit the waiver. And hopefully we're able to still find more people to fill some of those openings.
So in your packet, we actually submitted a waiver that listed the 9 classrooms. And since then, we've updated that waiver with a couple of waivers actually. One of them that shows 4 classes listed, but because we're looking at a reassignment from another campus for Elm Creek, we've actually also added another waiver that lists just 3 campuses. Okay, and we'll submit the one that's needed to be submitted based on, I think, how long it would take to actually have that reassignment take place. We just want to make sure that we have the waivers in place in the event that we're needing more time to put our long-term plan in place. So.
I move.
We have a motion. We have a second. Daniel?
Sir.
Okay, we have a motion and a second that the board approve the submission of a 2022-2023 application for maximum class size exception for elementary schools as presented. Any further discussion or questions?
You think that anticipation of the dual language is causing growth in our those certain classrooms where that's what's noticeable up there?
What we tend to have is some of the campuses have unexpected growth at certain times in certain grade level. Bob Hope, as you know, takes on the bilingual students from both Spicewood and Bob Hope, and that was a decision made years ago to help the numbers with Bob Hope. And now that Spicewood Park is actually growing in size, we have a bilingual population that's coming in. So that's things that Brandon and I will take into consideration when we get to staffing for next year. But it's really great because we have people moving into the district. When we do staffing, we base that on the projection of enrollment that's coming. So the fact that we need more teachers means there's more kids coming. And so it's a good problem to have, but we want to make sure we support those teachers that have a little bit larger classrooms, and to make sure that they understand that we're here to support them.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, we have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Item 9A.
Yes, sir. So we finally come to the end. We, back, as far back as April, we've been talking about purchase of property. The board gave authority to purchase the 100 acres that we purchased back in the spring. We've been negotiating and working through lawyers to get the property next to Texas A&M. We finally finalized that. So we're asking the board to approve that purchase of the 30 acres. You can see based on the survey, that allotment is in your board book there. Shows you where it's directly. A lot of the problems we ran into is making sure we had an easement to get to the property. And I know Thomas and our lawyers worked through that. So we're here asking the board to approve the purchase now. The approximate cost will be $2.4 million from fund balance. And so if you give us the authority, we'll finalize, negotiate, and go to the final sale.
I move.
A second.
Well, there's a special motion.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
we
I
need to
second
have
that
read
one.
on this, so we're gonna go over that. first.
No, okay, never mind.
You say that.
Man, we're racing. I move that the board adopt a written resolution in the form provided to the trustees authorizing the purchase, the property described in the agenda item and resolution as presented, and authorizing the superintendent to tender the purchase price of the property and the amount of closing and other costs to the title company for payment to the seller of the property and to execute any documents necessary to effect the purchase, and directing that the board secretary place a copy of the resolution in the official minutes of this meeting.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Brandon. We got some lion. Consider approval of waiver of penalty and interest on tax account.
Yes, sir.
Brandon.
Our Vero Appraisal District collects taxes, and when taxes aren't collected and people are late, there's penalties and interest on those accounts. But sometimes they make mistakes or misplaced documents. So we had a taxpayer file correctly. Vero County Appraisal did their research and found out it was an error on their part. But only the Board of Trustees can approve waiving the penalty and interest, and so today I'm asking the board, based on the information I got from the Vero Appraisal District, to waive this taxpayer's penalty and interest, and so that they can refund the taxpayer.
Who was the first one? We don't have to say.
It's in your documents.
I move that we do that.
I second.
We have a motion and a second that the board approve the waiver of penalty and interest on tax account 05737-068-0163. Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Consider approval of state control's findings on taxable property value audit.
Every year, you may know that there's a gentleman, his name is Dr. Kabusi, he's been working for the district for many, many years. And what he does for the district is, he studies our comptroller findings and our audits of our property values. And so he goes back in time, you know, our property values, we get a certified value, and then it comes around in September, October, they kind of finalize it, but people still get to protest. And so over time, as they protest, our value goes down, but the state never realizes it and doesn't go back and pay us our foundation funds unless you audit that. And so we consult with Mr. Kavusi to go back and do those audits. It's a long paper trail, and he goes through, and he does it for every Bexar County school district. And so last year, based on the years in the audits, you can see that he got the district a refund from the foundation, from TEA, of over $1,098,284. And so we received those payments back last year from our foundation. And when we finally get the funds and we realize it, and we go to near final or summary finance, he sends a bill, because we paid him to do this. And so his fee is $82,370 for him going back and auditing and getting us in that $1 million. So today I'm asking the board to approve our payment to Dr. Kavusi of $82,370 for the property value audit findings.
And that's for all those 3 years, right?
Yeah,
Or
those
back
3
to
years, he goes back and
20.
audits, and then the state, he sends that to the state ends up paying us for what they owed us from those years.
We have a motion.
I second.
Can I say real quick that?
Yes, sir.
Because it was last year's funds, I received those last year, I'm asking the board to approve the payment out of fund balance, because that revenue went into fund balance. And
Yes,
so
sir.
that's part of this too, I just want to be transparent.
Okay, we have a motion and a second with a clarification. Any other questions?
No, sir.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Brandon. D, consider resolution to adopt National Incident Management System, NIMS, for district incident management.
Yes, sir. The presenter
Hello,
is going
Coach.
to be Mr. Figueroa. He's gonna go over it and briefly talk about all that in the board.
Good evening, everybody. National Incident Management System guides all levels of government, non-governmental organizations, and private sector to work together to prevent, protect against, mitigate, respond, and to recover from all kinds of incidents. NIMS provides stakeholders with a shared vocabulary and also defines operational systems that guide how personnel work together during incidents. The Incident Command System, or otherwise known as ICS, is a subcomponent of NIMS. Standardized approach to the command, control, and coordination of on-scene incident management. Southwest ISD has been utilizing NIMS and ICS for several years to manage incidents within the district. It is now a training requirement for both district leadership and campus administration. One of the benefits of taking the resolution to the board is, should we ever need FEMA reimbursement, we've started that process by passing this resolution to use the FEMA coordinated effort as a protocol. So at this time, we're asking if the board would approve the resolution as presented.
I move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Board, you've had the resolution before you. Any questions on the resolutions?
No, sir.
Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Pivotal. E, consider approval of the district multi-hazard emergency operations plan, active attack plan, and active shooter plan.
Yes, sir. Under Texas Government Code 418-175-182, we like to table this because we're going to present this in closed session due to the complexity of the safety standards that we don't want to just open up.
Okay.
So we want to go in closed session and come back to this item.
So would you like to table with an open date?
We would like to take action after the close.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't
Oh,
table.
okay,
Sorry.
okay, okay.
Yeah, you're right.
Board members, does anyone have any question on that?
No.
I'm just making myself a note there. Okay. Item F, consider approval of change order number 1 for the relocation of portable buildings to Southwest Legacy High School.
Yes, sir, as you know, we had started the process during the summer to move portables to Legacy High School to help with the floating teacher issue and the amount of classroom space that they needed. During the process of moving the 4 portables that we were planning on moving from McAuliffe Middle School, when Dodson House Moving picked up 2 of them on the steel to move them, the rot in the bottom of them from termites was so bad that they were not able to safely move them from one campus to another. So in turn, we will have to demolish those there on site. We did have 2 buildings at Big Country that we are going to move to Legacy High School to make the 4 still. With that, they had already done some of the work under the contract, and then in addition with the extra work that needed to be done at Big Country and the extra mileage, they have asked for a change order number 1 to Dodson House Moving in the amount of $15,700 to also to go ahead and incorporate the Big Country portables to be moved to Legacy.
I move.
A quick question. The 2 that were already moved, since they were so close to the other ones, what was the quality of those? Was the same bad? I mean, are
They
they
were not
rough or?
They were not made at the same time. They were considerably newer. The 2 that couldn't be moved were the oldest 2 that were there.
Okay.
They had been there, I think, probably since close to the building of McAuliffe, back in the 90s. So they just had been, it just past their time.
Did Dodson move them on site for us or something, the old ones?
He picked them up and then the walls separated
Did he
from the
demo them
floor.
on site?
We haven't demoed them yet. We're gonna issue that as a separate
They don't
contract.
demo, they just move.
There's also going to be a small abatement project involved in that because the floor tile in them has to be abated, unfortunately.
1994 to be exact.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We now have a second by Daniel. Any other questions? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Thomas. Okay, C&I, consider approval of RFP 2122-124 on special ed.
Yes, our special ed department did a proposal, and it was advertised, and we received 6 proposals. And this was in order for us to have a special education assessment, a group of vendors and consultants. So we are asking for the board to approve this RFP.
I move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second that we approve the RFP as presented. Any questions?
No, sir.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you, Lily. B, consider approval of ESC Region 20 T-Class Decision 2A for pre-K.
Yes, we have a new grant, which is with T-Class, Decision 2A. And so we've always partnered with Region 20. Last year, we partnered with them with a different grant. And so this year, we are asking for the board to approve our continuous partnership, but now with a different grant, which is T-Class Decision 2A.
I move.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions, board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you, Dalila. Okay, now we'll give Dr. Russo his chance for one more thing. Do one more thing right now?
You have them in front of you. We have a special event this week. Southwest High School has their homecoming coming up this Friday. And I know it's a very exciting water polo. I always thought I'd say that. And Southwest, game between Legacy and High School last night in overtime. And congratulations to Legacy girls team. They did very well. And so there are a number of events coming up. We also have the TAFE convention coming up this weekend, and we have some information for you all when we get back into the closed session for that. In front of you, one thing I'd like to mention is an invitation. It's called the Southwest Solution that staff will be presenting, specifically Dr. McAndrew, Dr. McClellan, on what we've been able to do, working with our youth teachers to education, and how we've been able to retain a very high percent of those teachers in our system. And so if you're able to be at that convention conference on Friday, we'd like to have our board join us in that room on the third floor. So other than that, we can go to closed session.
Okay. As permitted by sections 551.001 through 551.146 of the Texas Government Code, we will now go into closed session at 7:03. We are calling this meeting back at 7:59. Okay, we'll go first to item 7A, Superintendent's recommendations on personnel and administrator employment, resignations, reassignments, leaves of absence, and contract renewals.
I move that we approve the superintendent's recommendations.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. We have one abstention, Danny Carrillo. Business and Finance, item E, consider approval of the district multi-hazard emergency operations plan, active attack plan, and active shooter plan.
I move.
I second.
We have a motion, a second,
Somebody got, yeah, somebody.
and all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. One more thing?
Yeah, I just want to thank the board for everything you all do and your gift of time to the school district again. And then everyone, all the staff in here, C&I for really great outcomes. I do want to introduce a new title in our district, and so I'd like to introduce journalistic award-winning chief communication officer.
Award-winning.
In all seriousness, we are so proud to have you. We really are.
And I'm gonna call somebody from Channel 12 to do an interview with you, so.
Now you can't leave.
Fantastic.
Congratulations.
Board members, anybody have anything they want to bring up? Here,
Also, sir, at your spot, September 30th, we are having a GED graduation ceremony for SDP. So if you're able to make that day, we'd love to have you be part of that.
and the date on the peace officer,
September 30th as well.
September 30th, but we don't know what time yet, right?
If I open my email, I will forward the invitation.
Okay,
I have it
thank
on
you.
the-
Okay, we're gonna adjourn at 8:02.